Hello and welcome. On the 1st of June 1985, my life changed dramatically forever. Because this happened.
Oh, get the engine off!
Wait. And then this one here was hitting at the window, and I put my hands up against the window here, and I said, just tell me what you want me to do. And there's a crash and a bang and a wallop from behind me, and there's shouting, and they're banging on the sides of the ambulance.
One of the police reached in through that broken side window, the passenger window, and grabbed a handful of hair. I couldn't see clearly into the vehicle from where I was standing. I was some little distance off, but it was very clear to me that he had hold of the top of her hair and was pulling very vigorously. She, of course, was screaming blue murder, not wanting to be pulled, because what she was being pulled through was a window that had been broken 10 seconds earlier, which was framed broken glass.
Thank you very much.
The glass flying over and the spike came through the window, and it was definitely quite frightening.
Stop here! Out!
Alright!
Stop!
We have babies in here, very small babies! Don't wait!
I didn't do anything, mate. They smashed me windows. They hit me on the head with truncheons. Then they hit me when I was on the floor. Get out! Open the door then! Stop it! Come on! Take her away. No! Don't on. Are you still there, boy?
These bobbies stopped me and forcibly spun me round and made me look. They said, see that? And I looked at my home, and there was smoke coming out the side doors, and they'd gone and set my home on fire and stopped me and turned me round and made me look at my home.
What we, the ITN camera crew, and myself as a reporter have seen in the last 30 minutes here on this field has been some of the most brutal police treatment of people that I've witnessed in my entire career as a journalist. There must be an inquiry. I don't know what the results will be of it, but at this stage, the number of people who've been hit by policemen, who've been clubbed whilst holding babies in their arms and in coaches around this field is still to be counted. What the end result will be, we don't know, but there must surely be an inquiry after what's happened here today.
And this is part of a number of stories to do with this. Some of them have already been edited and uploaded, and the others are waiting for bits and pieces and to be filmed, or various things. So, well, basically, I dreamed, because I saw the way the world going, I dreamt, or I figured that living in a vehicle would just totally suit everything for me. It would make perfect sense, because I could take my home with me wherever I went. And I kind of wanted to do circus performing, travelling theatre, that kind of entertaining. and I was saving up money so I could buy myself a vehicle. So we're gonna go into the wood now. Well, what had been happening is for the previous 12 years there was a free festival at Stonehenge. I remember when we first moved to Devizes, we went to Stonehenge, and I remember my mum saying to me, no idea how old I was, that oh, this is where all the hippies have a festival. And I thought, oh, that sounds good. I like the sound of that. She didn't say it in any negative way or anything. So I would often, well, at the end of every festival, there'd be a particular night in July where I'd hear the sound of diesel engines, loads of them, and I'd run the 20 metres to the bottom of our road to hear, and I would watch all the trucks and buses go by, and I'd wave to them all, every single one. And I did this every year. Now this particular year was 1985, was going to be the 13th year, and there was some clause in the law that meant if it took place, then it would become a legal event. And so the authorities thought that they needed to destroy it. After all, who's going to believe, who are the people going to believe? The police or some hippies who live in some scruffy buses? So on June the 1st, some convoys from various places met roadblocks, and then the police started going. I wasn't there, let's get that clear, I wasn't there. Started going down the line and smashing windows. So of course, if someone's coming around smashing the windows of your home, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and let them smash your home? Or are you going to do something about it? Or are you going to try to escape? Well, of course, because they're blocked in a line, they can't turn round, so they went through a fence into a field that has been known as, ever since, as the Beanfield. And then what preceded that, you can go and find the footage yourself. It's called the Battle of the Beanfield, but it was basically a massacre. You can see on all the footage, you can see the look in the police's eyes, certainly when people were filming them. You could see that they knew what they were doing was completely wrong, and even the news reporter on one of the channels was so freaked out about it, he said this needs to be taught in history at school. It's one of those shouldn't ever be forgotten. Now the argument is that their vehicles were all illegal and bad condition. Well, show me 10-year-old vehicle that's in a really bad condition that deserves to have its windows smashed and its front grille smashed in and permanently disabled. There aren't that many 10-year-old trucks that are fucked. You can go and look at pictures. Alan Lodge, known as Tash, he took loads. He's probably, his pictures are probably the ones that you see. You know, and you can look at number plates and you go, well, that wasn't that old. And I know myself, because I had a bus and it was completely legal. So anyway, what that day marked was the beginning of a, what's the word? It was the beginning of concerted proper anti-hippie, anti-traveller propaganda. And I've been a victim of it ever since. Even to this day it affects me. Of course, what is shown on the television, it's not going to be anything that, you know, the people are going to say, oh yeah, we can't, it was bloody hippies, yeah, bloody hippies. But so this propaganda, which I might have to do another video to go into loads more detail, is, you know, if you're living on a site, because there aren't sites for travellers, and I still don't live in a secure home, and I'd been quite happy living in a bus or something, you know. But the propaganda, and because of this Beanfield, what would happen is they'd turn up on a site, the riot squad, all armed, and say you've got an hour to leave. So of course, are you going to say, well, hang on, we need to take this rubbish away, we need to pack this up, we need to do that? No, if you know that they can smash up your vehicles and the world just sits by and lets them do it, you're going to go, aren't you? So what's left is a site of rubbish. So they take a photograph of that and say, look, here's the site the travellers left, look what a mess they left. Meanwhile, they're not disclosing to you that they were threatened by the police, all heavily armed, ready to smash up all their vehicles. So of course this propaganda is getting passed down, so, you know, it's like everywhere I go people are shouting abuse at me on a daily basis every time I went out for 25 years. Because it gave people free rein. So a lot of people went to southern Europe, Spain, France, so all these beautiful buses, and they were beautiful, there's nothing like it today, that beautiful, all curved, lovely. They've been left to rot in Portugal, Spain, France. They've just been left there to rot. And they were beautiful, and they're very historic, and they certainly are now. But these little bits of propaganda picking on a group of society, you know, so quite a lot of travellers do the kind of work that I do, work in nature. That's what they do, nature or something creative, or music. And also at the same time as the anti-traveller stuff going on, there was also the miners and breaking the unions, basically. And if you think, well, that doesn't matter, well, the unions are what mean that you don't have to work 14-hour days, and you get paid, you get sick pay, and you get all kinds of things like that. That's just another side issue. I'm not so hot on that, but I know that without the unions and without the Industrial Revolution, we would, you know, we'd be a lot of things. Hey, you know, on behalf of people like me here in Britain, I'm apologising for us inventing work. What a shit thing to do. Maybe we can all join together and do a different kind of work, producing our own food, growing our own food, and living communally. Yeah, I know personally that there are people that believed the propaganda the stuff that was said, because they've said it to me, and I've kind of gone, but you weren't there, you didn't see this. I was actually there at some of these things and saw what they did and saw the lies and how it's portrayed. The newspaper one, that's a separate story, so I'll probably have edited that before this one. Yeah, there's a whole load of things hidden in our recent history that may shed a bit of light on how things are today. Now, contrary to popular belief, of course, my mum tells me that the people of Devizes used to look forward to the travellers coming through because it was like colourful, it was joyful, and obviously it was the nearest big town and they'd stop for provisions. Now, I haven't heard any bad words about it. Now, there are some aspects to the story that I'm not going to disclose, not because they're illegal or wrong or anything, but just because I'm protecting a few people. There was a documentary that was filmed, that was made and shown on Channel 4, British television, Channel 4, in the early 90s. I know that because I know the people that did it. So there are things that I'm not going to mention for various reasons, and they're not all dodgy reasons. Just because something isn't mentioned, it doesn't have to be dodgy, it doesn't have to be illegal. It can simply be because the people don't want things known. Can be in order to protect people from, I don't know, whatever, you know. There's always many reasons for things, it's not just simple.
If you get away from all the fine detail of the legal argument and exactly who said what to who in court, and get to the bottom line, what happened in the Beanfield was an outrage. It should not have happened in a civilized society, and the people who did it, that's to say the police, appear largely to have got away with it.
So the next episode about this is going to be how the fallout, the subsequent fallout, affected me and what happened. So join me for that. See you next time. Ta-ra.